Good afternoon, everyone. So if you have ever threatened your child with saying you are going to lose out on something or you're not going to get something in the midst of some kind of power struggle or behavioral issue, this video is for you. And so basically, if you have a child, this video is for you, because let's be honest, this is something that very easily comes up when you are in a struggle with a child, and often I would even say when you are out and about in public, because it's one of those ways that are socially friendly in terms of trying to enforce things with your child. So we're going to talk about how those kind of threats can actually make behavior worse and work against you. And so I know you don't want to make problems worse for yourself. And so we're going to chat about this. So thank you for people who are joining in live here. And for people catching the replay, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are catching this video because someone has shared it, and please feel free to share. My name is Jillian. I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor. And my business, Fly on the Wall Counseling, is all about providing online services and sessions for parents who have tried everything to address their children's challenging behaviors. And I come in and help to give tools and to equip parents to be able to restore peace to their hearts and to their homes and get their kiddo back on track. So that's a little bit about who I am, what I do, and let's chat about threats. So, I actually started typing out this title to be Why Threats Make Behavior Worse. And I was like, well, I don't know that anyone's going to really doubt me on that one when you put it that way, right? When you say that a threat can make behavior worse, that kind of is a no-brainer, and yet it's a technique that we often utilize with children to say, you're not going to get to watch that movie. You're not going to be able to have dessert. If you keep this up, you're not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. And so this is a very common go-to for parents in the midst of struggle. Now, absolutely, if a child is acting out, they deserve and earn some sort of consequence. Same as if a child is doing something well, they really earn some kind of positive consequence. So I'm not saying here that we should never keep consequences from kids, but rather that threats to take something away can just make your situation worse. And there are two ways really that come to mind when it comes to giving your child a threat to take something away. So first thing that could happen is they really, really want that thing, whatever you're going to withhold from them. And so you tell them you're going to take it away, and they just have an emotional meltdown. They were already really struggling, and this is just the thing that just tipped them over the edge, and it was too much for them to bear. And they are no longer able to emotionally regulate or have emotional self-control anymore, and so they just lose it. And then on top of that, they know that they've lost it, and so then you have that going on as well. So now we have three stressors. We have stressor number one, which was whatever the beginning of this situation was in the first place. Situation number two being threatened that they could lose it, and then because they do lose it emotionally, then they realize I'm not getting what I want, and so then they're emotionally distraught over that as well. So it just compiles stressor on top of stressor on top of stressor, and it makes it really hard then for that child to de-escalate. They are so much in their emotional center of their brain that the tiny little bit of their frontal cortex, their logical center of their brain, just is not able to compensate or take over, and you kind of have to let the tantrum run its course. Now, there are certainly ways to help children to de-escalate, but that's a whole different probably series of videos, honestly, on that one. But so that's just one way that things can go when you threaten to take something away. It could really emotionally escalate them, and then you have yourself in a worse situation. Another way that a child could react, and this is maybe for more of those strong-willed kiddos out there, they could say, okay, take it away. Or, I don't care. I don't need that. I didn't want it anyway. That's certainly another reaction that can bring out. And usually when this happens, parents panic because that bargaining chip, that kind of like last resort that you were going to use to try and get them to behave or do what you want them to do, now feels like it's been taken away from you and you don't know what to do next. And so that threat that you thought was going to work all of a sudden has disarmed you. And the child feels then like they have the upper hand because they're like, whatever, take whatever you want. So then your temptation might be to up the ante to say, well, fine, then you're going to lose this too. And they're like, cool, do whatever you want. Don't really care. And you lose that ability to be able to have a conversation with them. They're checking out. They're letting you know, hey, it doesn't care, or it doesn't matter to me. And honestly, it may absolutely matter to them. They may actually really care that they're going to lose out on whatever you're suggesting they're going to lose out on, but they will not let you know it because that allows you to show that you're having power and control over them, and that's the last thing that they want. And so you as a parent then are at the point where you're like, I don't know how I'm going to gain this power and control back. So that is another way that threatening to take something away can absolutely cause things to get worse. And honestly, parents, when adults get to the point where they are panicked and they feel like they don't have any power and control anymore over this child who they are in charge of, it's really hard to collect yourself and to get to a place where you respond to them in a way that you're proud of. Or you respond to them in a way that you feel like things are going to go over well. So the two reactions that we discussed was, one, threatening to take something away can escalate the child and then get them to fail and then cause another escalation because they realize they've lost something that they wanted. Or it can get you to a place where the child says, I don't care. And then you feel like you've lost any ability to kind of move forward and have some power and control and authority in that situation. So those are some ways that threats can kind of backfire on you. So if that is something that you resort to often and it is backfiring on you, I would love to talk to you because there are certainly ways to implement consequences to get your child to do what you want them to do. And so let's connect. Let's talk about, is your child the first type that will escalate, or are they the second type that will, kind of tell you too bad? Let's talk through that. Let's look at some ways that you can make progress with your child. I always offer a free consultation, so I will be sure to put the link in this video to be able to get that free consult with me, and we can talk through what kind of child you have and then what are some alternative ways that you can still get them to do what you want without having to resort to threats. And remember, just think of it this way. Threats make behavior worse. That would be true for you. That's true for your child. Even if you think it's justified, threats are going to make behaviors worse. And so I encourage you to start looking for some new ways to reach your kiddos. And if you need help, I'm here to help you. So, oh, Jacob, sure. And absolutely. So Jacob says that his son is both ways. So yeah, they could absolutely go one way or another depending on how they're feeling that day and what's already happened to them. If they're already a little bit emotionally unstable or been frustrated a lot of ways, they absolutely could go either way. So yes, I'm really glad you shared that, Jacob, because you are not the only parent that is that way, that has a child that acts both directions. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. So if you guys are interested in spending some time chatting together, I'm going to put my link below, and you can always send me a personal message. We could set up that way too. So thank you, everyone, and feel free to share this video, get the word out, and encourage some other parents. Thanks all. Bye.